you're pretty much guaranteed 1 million views. Pretty much.
Seriously?
I can't let this control me. It used to be the only sole factor of how my mood was doing. I really struggled to just be able to step away from it. I don't really know why. If we'd done this interview 2 years ago, I wouldn't have admitted it. Joe Weller was a huge one for me. You're not taking risks with YouTube. You're going backwards.
Like, how does George deal with it? How does Alex deal with it?
We don't talk about it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so secretive about it. The one skill you need to do YouTube successfully. I probably would have taken the money, right? For the record, I probably would have taken it.
Again, this has happened a few times now.
What are you doing?
Welcome back to The Process. Let's
Hello.
get straight into it. WillNE is with me, and yes, I'm holding a cup this way again. Got a few comments last time the way I hold a cup.
Drink a cup there?
I don't know, I just hold a cup like an old man apparently. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and check out the other episodes of The Process. We've got one with Brian, TWOTI, Lawrence McKenna, Zach and Jay, Chris Pajak, Spencer was the last one.
You're just showing off now.
And now, WillNE.
Hello.
Which, do you know what? You're the second interview that's with people under 30.
Really?
Which I think is, which I'm pleased about. The reason I'm pleased about that is because that's kind of what this was all about. It was more about, the process was about like where you're at right now, not what you've done, this incredible career that you've had, right?
Yeah, like the journey, the process,
The process, and like the lucky thing with the name The Process was that it's like, it's in the past, it's what you're gonna be doing for the future, and it's where you're at right now. And so that's what I want to kind of try and get back to with you. Like we can talk about, I'd like to talk about like YouTube and your kind of understanding of it, because I think it's far more like attuned than anyone else. I know certainly. But also just want to kind of know like where you're at right now.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, that's probably my first question. Like,
okay.
So where are you at right now? Obviously we're in your new lovely like place.
Yeah, so it's been a difficult week, I can't lie. Like, so we moved house. And so I'm not an organised person, so we're moving flat, we're putting all the boxes up and also trying to make a video at the same time, and then the video didn't do how I wanted it to. So currently, right, I'm always doing how my last video did.
Really?
So my mindset's always, so if my last video did like, oh yeah, it's gone really well, the feedback's good, my mood's up here. If it's not what you hope for, what you expect, or what you come accustomed to, my mood was on the floor.
I didn't want to jump to that conclusion that your mood gets affected by it.
100%.
But I think for someone who's sort of looking from the outside, someone who's cracked it so well, that was something I wanted to kind of get onto, was how much those numbers dictate your life and how much control you can kind of have over those numbers, and the fact that, because I have it on this tiny level. It exists regardless.
Yeah.
It's a bit like football, where like, say you've got a team and it does quite well.
Yeah.
That's not enough. Yeah. Like, because your expectations reach this new
100%.
level.
It's like representative of where you are.
Do you get that?
So obviously, because numbers and stuff are finite, like infinite, you're never going to be satisfied for them. So I think there's that problem, but not a problem with YouTube, but it's like, okay, you have a really good month and you say you do X amount of views and that's great for you at the time. And then, okay, suddenly your mind's like, well, I've had that before. Like that's what I should be getting. Like, oh, this is great. And then suddenly it becomes not enough and you want more, and then you're always left in this cycle of wanting more. So something I've definitely focused on in the last year, of just being like, I can't let this control me, because if I look to probably a year ago now, it used to be the only sole factor of how my mood was doing. Like, if my video did well, I'm great. If my video did bad, I'm in a shit mood, and that was it. Like, that was literally all there was to my life. And I think, to be honest, until I met...
And what's your understanding of bad?
How do you mean?
So you've said it's quite black and white for you there, or it was.
Yeah.
That like, if it does well, then I'm cool. I'm in a great mood. What is bad?
That's the twisted thing about it, is the 100k views difference. Right. It's literally numbers on a screen. Say at that point, I don't know, it might be like, if a video got X amount, 400k, I could have been like, not happy. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's amplified. So in this building here, George, so Memeulous would live here, Alex would live here, And we all do very similar videos. We're at similar points. So you'd see yours maybe not do how you wanted it to, and then I'd go see George, whose channel at that time was like kicking the arse off like mine. So I'd see that, and it would be like, you'd be like, all right, okay, miserable about that video, and then I'll go see someone, and it just kind of amplifies it if theirs are doing well as well.
Are there two sides to that? We're living with the guys. Is there like, have you taken certain things from how they cope with it?
Yes, yeah.
Because you're saying and then the other side, you're really competitive as well. Like, how does George deal with it? How does Alex deal with it?
We don't talk about it, to be honest. Really, I think.
Why?
I don't know, because I think it controls with so much. Yeah. So me and George. Well, no, we do. Me and George would be like, "Oh, our video did shit," and be like, you know, you win some, you lose some. But I think to really get out of that mindset, you've just got to talk to people who aren't in the space. Like, until I met Mia, if a video did bad, my mood would crash. But now I can step away, spend time with Mia. Like, she's the only person that I can really talk to and forget about like this whole YouTube stuff.
Does she know about it all? Is she into YouTube?
She has to be. I mean, that's all I really talk about.
It's a bit weak otherwise, right?
Yeah, she's pretty switched on with it, right. I'd say.
But
probably
she's
more
allowed
sure
to
than she'd want to be.
Does she? Do you think she understands that role as well? Like that she can offer that respite for you. That escape?
Yeah, 100%. I think.
Let's go back then. Got straight into the YouTube stuff. We'll come back to that. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Because everyone's going like, how do you do it? I want the formula. All this. So when it comes to me and these interviews, I've said this a few times. I go to little words or things pop up in my head or whatever it is. So there's never any kind of real rhyme or reason. It's just like purely like curiosity. But I thought this might be a decent question. If there was one overriding characteristic that you could describe yourself as, obviously we're all multifaceted. We all have different ways of thinking, different ways of being. So for me, for example, I think I'd have to go. I'd have to say sensitive would be the one. Right. And it's one that I've been labelled as for a long time from my family and friends, but I never truly accepted it to probably the last year and a half. If there was one thing that you are, what characteristic would you go for?
I'd say probably driven. If I had to pin it down to one, I'd say I just always feel this need to be like pushing or like doing something, or like I really struggle to take time off, especially with this. I really struggle to just be able to step away from it. I don't really know why. Like there's nothing in my mind. Like I don't have a goal of I want to hit this many subscribers, I want to be this big, I want to make this much money. I don't know why, but it's just there's always something there underlying of I want to do this, I want to work hard, because nothing else really feels right.
Nothing else feels right. Like,
unless I'm like always thinking like, okay, we'll make this video, what's the next thing I can do? I don't know, it just doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like what I should be doing.
So this is the next thing. So I had a look at your videos, and there's this massive gap of videos.
What do you mean?
There's a few FIFA ones, then there's a load missing, right?
Yeah.
And then you come back, and there's a few, and then we've got loads.
Well, I think that's just probably because a lot of them are private. I think when it's like, so when you see the 2012 FIFA ones, you're like, oh, okay, I was young then. They're not so embarrassing because I was just young. But then when you're like, when I look back at maybe videos I made 2 or 3 years ago, I'm like, oh, I can't watch them because it's like these ones now, but just really shit. And just like 2 years ago, it's like, it's kind of like.
And I don't think I'm not attacking that. But
no.
Like I think Brian's done the same thing.
Yeah.
I've done it. I did it when I sort of restarted it. Started to do a channel properly. I was like, well, I don't want to be known for all those things. So I'm not. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But what happened during that period then? Because you're saying you're really driven. Obviously, there needs to be a kind of a starting point.
Yeah.
There's a starting point, and then there's BG Media. There are like these big bits. Because I think often people go, oh yeah, it was just BG Media, and then he was huge. There's so many bits in between.
It's funny because when you say the BG Media stuff, that was when it became full time. Before that, so I was doing my A-levels. So then it's like, obviously that takes up a big more, like a larger chunk of that. And I was also driven with those. So I'd still be, not as much, but I'd be like working on that, and then I'd kind of do it here or there. and YouTube didn't become a real focus or like a real passion until maybe 2014, where I was just starting to go into uni and stuff.
So what was the? Ooh, I just got cramped. What was the reason? What was the reason for the first ever video that you did, and what was that? Was it that FIFA one?
No,
What was the first ever video?
It was like 2008. Me and me mates when we were in like 7 year 8 doing a trampoline wrestling video, and we were like, yeah, let's film it. Everyone will love this. We were really into WWE. We're like, yeah, let's film this and put it on YouTube. And out of the 4 of us, it was me that like filmed it, and me that uploaded it, and me that put it together on my little phone. And I think the bug kind of, without me knowing, started then.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got into it intermittently and dropped in and out of it, because it's still, back in those days, one of those things that if you got caught doing it, you get laughed at and mocked for. And it was like, oh, you're that kid that makes YouTube videos. So it's like...
So is there the kind of, for kids that age, is there that gasp of like, okay, here we go? Because even, I just listened to the TWOTI podcast with you, and you were saying how, like, you know, there are these numbers which, you know, dictate how you feel about things. But at the same time, you can't like, you don't understand that number at all. That's what you said at the time. You don't see 100,000 people or a million people. Yeah. But at school, that could be seen by 70 people.
And there'd be the 70 worst people for you to ever watch it.
It can ruin your fucking life.
Put it on in the classrooms. Right? Yeah, that's where WillNE came from, because I didn't want it to be WillNE in case my friends found it.
Right.
So it was like, live that bit of a Hannah Montana lifestyle. Wow. Not really not with 4K, but...
So there's the wrestling one. Then when's the first one where you're like, I'm happy for people to see this? Be it even like a school kid.
God, far down the line. Like, for me to be like, I'm happy for my friends to see it, BG Media days, earliest.
Really?
Earliest. Like, that was the first time I'd be comfortable with, like...
But you're still doing it.
How do you mean?
But you're still making all these videos prior to then.
Yeah, just
So you just blocked out the fact that all your mates must be seeing that.
No, they didn't. They didn't see it until one of my mates found their video in their recommended. So I made a new Twitter account, I made a new Instagram account, completely different, like alias, like name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no one would find it until they got to the stage where I was kind of comfortable with, if they see them, it's not the end of the world, they're not that bad.
Wow.
Yeah. I was so secretive about it. And I think that was a great thing to do, because it gave me all of that time to try my hardest, try different things and fuck up. Like Are
you on screen?
Oh yeah, always have been. So like it gives you that, it takes the pressure off. I can make this absolutely shit, and no one I know will see, and it won't really matter.
Yeah. Like so huge freedom in that, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But do you have? So I'm having this weird thing now where, so if I go to QPR or like very rarely, for the first time, I'm hearing like, that's James Allcott.
Really? Oh shit, yeah.
And so I'm in the reason that I think that's interesting for you is, would you go to school thinking today's the day? Because I still, now when I go to QPR sometimes, I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I can feel something. I'm wary that that's going to happen. Not that it's like, and it's not the end of the world at all. Yeah. But for you, when you were kind of like keeping it quiet.
Yeah.
It's like, what was it like?
So it never happened when I was at school. It was when I moved to uni, and obviously I was living with these guys, so I just had to tell them, be like, oh yeah, I do this in my spare time, and just take the hit if the judges.
Right.
So at that point, it was like, they already knew. So no, I was never really living in fear of, oh shit, what if my mates see this? But you know, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And I guess once it does, when did you stumble across the beginnings of the formula of how your style of video?
To be honest, I think if we'd done this this podcast 2 years ago, I wouldn't have admitted it. But Joe Weller was a huge one for me, because I remember watching his videos and be like, you can be on camera and not vlogging, but you can be this, you can be whoever you want to be. You wouldn't have to be an Alfie Days or a Marcus Butler, like, I vlog this. Yeah. You can go on camera and you can take the piss. Right. And I saw that and be like, That's for me. As you can definitely tell with my channel, it was definitely molded in that, fair enough. molded in that way early on of, okay, find something daft, take the piss out of it, and we'll go from there.
So Joe Weller was a big...
Yeah,
because I think you're like the middle child of YouTube.
Do you know what? I was thinking of this. Do you know, this sounds mad corny. Have you heard that J. Cole song where he's talking about being in between two?
Yeah. That's you. That's exactly what I thought. I thought that.
Yeah.
Because, you're after Sidemen, you're after Joe Weller, but then you're the older brother to Alex.
Yeah.
Cam.
Same
kind of thing, and there are these new people.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the older generation, on the OGs, and what are your opinions on the guys coming up? What do you see when you look at those dudes?
It's funny because you can't really look at it in terms of like they were before me. They're like
because you became mates with them all.
Well, yeah, it's funny because like the age thing, it's like you've got to kind of look at it as a YouTube age. Like Alex is 3 years younger than me, but he's been doing YouTube like full on the exact same time. George is the same. Like George is 20, like that's 3 years younger. And then if you look at Joe Weller, he's like, we're born in the same month. So it's like, it's funny, is it like you look at the older generation, but the ages are completely skewed.
Yeah. But I guess there's a different journey there where it's your journey of your channel. Like, and if you don't, with your content, if you don't evolve it in some way or find a way to keep it fresh, then it naturally kind of loses its way a little bit. I'm not saying any of those guys have done that, but they're further down the road, so they've got to kind of deal with those challenges. Are there any challenges that you've seen like those guys kind of go through that you can either see on the horizon or you've had to go?
So it's I'm always kind of looking at that to like judge what's coming for me or what you say, and sometimes I find it hard to compare because if you look at the Sidemen, the Joe Wellers and them, I feel like their audience is maybe a little bit younger. So sometimes I feel bad for Joe Weller when I go into one of these videos and you look at his comments and they're just a shit show of just like 11-year-olds' opinions. And you think if that's the feedback you're getting of them just being like totally not getting the point of the video or what he's saying or misreading what something's happening. And then if you're judging of this, of what my audience wants, probably happens to Simon too, of like, oh, they're saying this and it's negative, but it's like they don't really understand. So then if you're trying to judge, okay, this is what I should be doing next, I think it's skewed and you should listen to their opinion less. Whereas I think with my audience, I'd say it's probably average 15 to 16, where I think you're just a lot more in tune. And I find it a bit easier to know if I've misjudged something or if I've got something wrong and how to adapt that going forward.
I guess the good thing for you is that the whole point of your content a lot of the time is it's saying, come on, be aware, like be aware of what you're fucking doing. Like, and calling people out in a sense. I think you've fine-tuned that in a really, really good way that's going to give you real longevity because you're careful. You're not overly, like in that commentary community, there's different ways of doing it.
Yes, definitely.
And that's good, and that's why there are different people. Say Jackmate feels a tiny bit more
aggressive,
a tiny bit more scathing.
A little bit. He runs the rule a bit more. I think he's very more like not the internet police, but like this is right and wrong. You should do this. You should not.
And he's very good at that.
Yeah,
very good at it. Like he always seems to be on the right side.
He can win an argument, that bastard.
Yeah, exactly. I think Alex is similar. It's kind of on a calmer tone, maybe.
I think Alex, having known him over the last year, he makes a conscious effort to take more towards entertainment than you should do this or not. But Alex has got a really good moral compass and he's very good at seeing both sides whilst also seeing the YouTube side of this is just entertainment. I think Alex does it really to a level I couldn't.
Are those conversations that you've had with Alex at times where you're kind of like, because I guess if there are these big things that your audience expects you to talk about, do you, have you sort of offered him as the middle child, as the big brother of him, have you sort of helped guide him at all?
I think the only thing with Alex is I just think, I was always careful of like, look, if I'm going to take the piss out of someone, am I going to meet them in a year? Am I going to meet them at a party in 2 years? And I'm like, I can't be arsed for that awkward situation. I don't enjoy chatting shit about people, so I've always kind of kept it very just light and I've never really, I don't think, and if I haven't done it for years, of like gone in of like this is really bad unless I think
I don't think you have.
I'm not going to meet them or they're a real bastard. So sometimes I'm like with Alex just like careful of who you say stuff about.
And I
which is bad, which is so like, you know what I mean, it's not like,
but it's tough, isn't it? Because I think like that by the nature of it, you're treading a line of being negative about something. And when you put that out to the world, there's a certain energy that puts out.
Oh yeah.
And so to find a way to do it where you feel good after it, is that a real thing? It's like,
I think the only thing I'd care about is if I hurt someone's feelings. Like I would never like say something to intentionally hurt someone. That's kind of the way I walk the line. Is would I say it to their face?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I would never want to be intentionally horrible to someone, just unless they're being a knob. You can mock it, fair enough. But to be honest, I've really stepped away from that in the last few years. For me, it's not that I don't enjoy it anymore, but I feel like there's only a certain amount of time you can do that for before it gets really fucking repetitive. There's only a certain amount of times you can make that video, say that joke, oh, you're a knobhead, before it gets boring. So like at that point, more recently in the last 6 months, I've really enjoyed like taking on a project like the I'm a Celebrity video. See if we can trick this or see if we can do this. And it's more of a challenge, and I think it's something you need to do to adapt to for people to keep watching. Yeah. It's just to even stay interested.
But again, that in itself it's got to be a clever move for it to work. So with the sort of the niche that you have in This Week on the Internet, have you found that frustrating at times to kind of keep being creative within that formula?
Within that formula, yeah, it's tough. And I'll only make one of those if I'm like, this is a topic that's worth talking about, or I've got loads of stuff that are worth showing and make it entertaining. But a lot of that, every time I make it This Week on the Internet, it does sometimes now feel like it's filler because I've made it so many times before that I'm like, oh, I'm just making this for the sake of it. Whereas with these new videos, it's like, wow, I'm really excited. This could, do really well, or it's just more of a risk. Yeah. And I think if you're not taking risks with YouTube, you're going backwards.
Going back to sort of the start of that, you're on 2.7 million subscribers, by the way. I looked at that yesterday. And I was like, what's great about it is there's a few like wows, but to be honest, it's pretty steady. Yeah. Morg's mum out.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then the tour, that killed it.
The tour, I was like, what is...
Morg's mum and Belle Delphine was great, and then we put all of the work into that tour.
So if you stepped out your channel, looked at your channel, why is it successful? Why do you think it's successful?
I think because it adapts a lot. I think I'm always you have to see where the platform's going, or what's wanted next. Even not so much in terms of trends, but what do YouTube want to push? Like, okay, like sub 10-minute videos now are just like a dead medium. Like there's no point of making them because YouTube's not going to show them. So you've just kind of got to work out how to keep the bigwigs happy, like how to keep the algorithm happy, and you're good.
When did you realise that?
What?
That it's as much as it's another phrase you use in one of the podcasts. It's like it's as much about the uploading page as it is about the video that you're making.
Yeah, it's even way more now.
So you did maths, chemistry,
physics,
right? So those offer up kind of clear like strengths, I guess.
Yeah.
About you. So what does doing those subjects, what does that say about you as a person? What do you like? What are you good at in terms of your mind?
I like being able to step back and analyze things. So like because you're given so much like data on the back end of your YouTube videos. If you can look at, all right, high click-through ratio, that's going to help. So I like being able to step back and look at the data of it, and then you can kind of reverse engineer what works and what doesn't.
When it first started to come together, had you looked at the analytics first and then created that, or did the video, or did you create the video and then tweaked it?
You've got to make the video to get, you know what I mean? It's like
for it to evolve.
So it's kind of just practicing and trying different things, and like there's never just a one video. Okay, I've got it. It works. Like I don't know now really what would be. There's no secret formula. You've just got to try. It's trial and error. It's just a massive case of trial and error.
So. But what there has to have been, so in hindsight there's a formula, but right now there's not a formula.
There's a formula, but it changes every 6 months.
Right.
So it's like what works now will not work in 6 months' time, and it definitely didn't work 6 months ago.
So talk me through the formulas as they've kind of come by. So
now,
what was the first one? Go in order for me.
Oof, God.
So the BG Media.
Yeah, for me, 2016, what I do is find some dodgy looking kid, well not looking kid, but dodgy kid from the northwest of England in the thumbnail, right? You get their face, you put it bang center, make it as big as possible and give it some all caps title saying they're the worst this or the worst that ever. Whereas now it's, once you've done that 10 times, people don't click on it as much, so you've got to think, okay, how can I pique people's interest in a different way? Now...
Both, and when you say pique interest, do you mean pique interest for the people that already watch your channel as much as the other guys, or pique the interest in comparison to everyone else who's everyone else?
Both. You've got to just think, what is the best way? I mean, the whole infrastructure of YouTube now is built off that little switch in your brain when you see something you're recommending, you go, I want to click that. Like that's all it's based off now. So you've got to find a way to be able to reverse engineer. How does my video flick that switch? Do you know, how does my video make someone go, oh yeah, I'll click on that? And that's literally the one skill you need to do YouTube successfully. Right. Doesn't matter even if the video's that great. That's the one like holy grail of it.
I think you're right, and I think people get. I certainly do. You get confused. You just go, oh, I'd like to do that. I like this will be a good idea for a video. Yeah. And the last thing you think about is the title. Yeah,
fuck that. Don't do that. That's the worst thing ever. No, start with the title and thumbnail, as sad and deprived as that is, and then work back.
Right.
That is like, I was on I was shooting a video for someone else's channel the other week, and it was a massive like scale production. Like there was a gallery, there was cameras on cameras, there was cameramen, you know, it was mic'd up, there was loads of people on set. And they were going to take the thumbnail, and the guy's videoist goes, so what should we do for the thumbnail? I'm going, like, this must be costing you thousands of pounds, and it's the most important thing. Like, think of that first.
Okay.
Josh Peters, you useless tosser.
Right, it's got it out. There you go. This is my title, calling out. I know I keep using this word formula.
Yeah.
But there's still, even in the, maybe it's the flow of it as well. You have, well, actually, do you know what's unfair? Maybe me keep going on about formula. Maybe it's just a style.
There is it's not a secret formula, but there's a very definitive way now of the two things the two boxes you have to tick to bang a video. It's watch time. And so there's a really good video on this by a guy called Veritasium, and he walked through it in a very scientific way. So there's watch time and click-through ratio.
Yeah.
So watch time, if you have a video with 8 or 9 minutes average watch time and a click-through ratio of about 8 or 9%. So for every 100 people that see that video recommended to them, 8 or 9 people click them, you're pretty much guaranteed 1 million views. Pretty much.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'd say. If you can get that high a click-through ratio and people are watching it for 8 minutes, if you look at the data of it, you're sitting pretty. So that's literally all you have to aim for.
Right. But doing that is a different thing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, completely. It's so easy to talk about, but so you've just always kind of got to like, okay, are people going to want to click on this image? And then that's the game of it.
What was peak YouTube? Have we reached peak YouTube?
What do you mean?
I think with anything, we're talking about channels, we're talking about any series that you watch on Netflix, any musician, they have anything. Yeah. They have a high and then it will plateau. And they might level up and it might go again, or it might drift away. I would love to think that YouTube's different because it's such an ever-changing platform that every year is different and every year different things work. So I mean, there's definitely peak points in certain YouTubers' careers. But I mean, you get there's great videos now, there was great videos last year, there will always be that currently. And that's what I love about it, is there's so much variety. I don't know, like my peak YouTube, or like when I enjoyed YouTube the most, would be different to yours. So it's like, it's almost, do you know when you've got to, actually, it's like, you know when you've got, take like your favorite artist and they'll make an album, you'll be like, oh, that's their best album because it'll remind you maybe of a best time in your life, and you'll be like, oh, that was peak YouTube because that's when I enjoyed it the most. Right, but like, maybe that's not a great analogy. Bringing it back to football, like I always do, it's like we were doing the kickoff the other day, and there's Rory, 34, Wizzy, 30s, I'm in the 30s, Loz in his 30s, Brian in his 30s, and they started talking about 90s football and saying like late 90s, that's as good as it's got. Right. It will never be that good again. Yeah, but was that not just because you loved the late 90s in your life? I think it is. To them, you know what I mean? It's because you're 15, 16, and you're obsessed. Yeah. You're obsessed with it. Yeah. But it's like, I reckon kids are probably doing the same thing now. It's like, do you remember when Liverpool got 97 points and still didn't win?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, it's like that. So it's like, going back to albums, it's like, I love Frank Ocean's Blonde because I remember being in a really good place when I was listening to that, like my YouTube was going, and whenever I put that album on, I'm like, oh, this is great, and it takes you back to that. Yeah. But if he makes a new album, I'll probably be like, oh, it's not as good as Blonde, because I'll associate it with, I was really happy.
Experiences and all that.
Yeah. And it's like, I think it's an unfair comparison. Sometimes you kind of have to step back from your perspective of it.
Would you say you're a creative person or an analytical person, or what's you?
I don't know, because obviously this whole YouTube thing suggests different, but I've never been creative my whole life. Like, in terms of like art or English, I could never do it. I was always shite. Like, even, I was like, school plays would never be in one of them. I think in like first school, I was like Shepherd number 3 in the Nativity. Like, I know.
Fuming. But
then we did a big tour of the UK. So I, with YouTube, I think it just makes you realise whatever you put your mind to, you can get sorted.
Yeah. In terms of like life lessons of the last 2 years for you, because you've gone from, you know, doing your A-levels and going to uni, moving down to London, then this, you know, this beautiful place that we're sitting at now, and like, do you feel, well, first of all, do you feel established?
How do you mean?
Do you feel like you're, I think often there's, in any person's life, there's that sort of panic of like, this could all go away.
Yeah.
When your life's dictated by numbers, going back to what we said at the start, I'd imagine that's really stressful.
Yeah.
But you've been around for a while now.
Yeah.
And that you've kept moving forward and kept getting better. Do you feel established and a bit calmer with all of that now?
I think, no, because I feel like if you start feeling established, then you get complacent, and then you're fucked. The one time where I was like worrying about things was before I did YouTube, when I was in uni, and like when I would be like, worried about where I'm at, or like this could all go away. I felt more about that at uni, and then as soon as I started doing YouTube, that just felt right, and this is what I was like, I could throw myself into. So it's definitely something I'm worried about, the future. It's definitely something I try and plan for, and, you know, spend money wisely or put it in, you know, wiser places. But what I'm more worried about is, well, not more worried about, it's not in terms of it going away, it's just, I'm worried about not being able to do it day to day as like my job.
As in like, you love that it fills your days, is that what you
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm not so much terrified of, losing, I get X amount of views a video or get paid this much a month from it. I'm really worried about, well, not worried, but I'm just not looking forward to the day where I can't do this anymore as a full-time job.
Yeah, I came and watch you on tour. Shepherd's Bush Empire, which I've been to a lot of times. I've watched The Roots there, I think I watched Jurassic 5 there. There's fucking amazing people there. And I was we were in the like third to back row, full. Yeah. And I saw you there, and I thought, fuck, this is like, and the reason, and not wow, he sold it out, not bothered about that. I was like, wow, for like, and we don't know each other really well, but I got the feeling, I was like, wow, that's really, really brave. Yeah. For you to, not dumb brave, like fucking amazing brave.
It was dumb brave 2 months beforehand. It's dumb brave, definitely.
That's why I was intrigued, because we were there in the kind of road to it and going, I was going, have you planned it yet? Yeah. You know what you're saying? Like, and then you did. You sort of got down and figured it out. And I always thought that was going to come, because Stephen as well, Stephen's incredible, because he's both so funny just off the top of his head, but he also, I think people sometimes wonder about why there aren't a lot of videos on his channel. Yeah. Big part of it is he scripts it. Yeah. He writes it down. Yeah. And so that takes a little bit of time. So I knew that you guys would go, right, okay.
We'll plan this meticulously,
Because I know, like, with your videos, you like to script them as well.
Oh, yeah, every word.
I remember sitting down with you and Brian when I was just starting. Yeah. It was just after a video with Josh Peters, I think. And I was like, so how, when you're doing, like, talking to camera, how do you do it? Like, what's your style? And Brian was like, 4 bullet points. Yeah. And a few jokes that you want to get to, and then just let it fly out. And you were like, no,
every single word.
Line.
Because I can't. Like, I think I just realised where my skill set's limited. Like I'm nowhere near as funny as Stephen or, you know, certain other people. But if I can just use my time and my effort to script and plan out a video of where to hit this, or I can get close.
I think that's a big thing for you that people should take as well. Is understand your strengths and see them and understand that they are strengths. I think it's something that I didn't understand for a long time, and I was trying to like dampen down my weaknesses a lot. And actually, like, if you just kind of understand, well, no, it's okay. Like, I'm not great on that. I'm really good at this.
Yeah, just go all in on I'm sick at this, and then that's your niche, or that's your selling point.
And I think you've done that without even knowing. I think throughout this period of success. Back to the tour, I thought you've got a new little perspective. I thought that, and then when I saw you in the bar afterwards, you said, I wanted to do something this year that scared me. I thought, wow, like that's really exciting to hear from you, because
it's just where you get progress.
But have you been like that? Is that something that's new to you?
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Because I'm guessing. Yeah. But I was guessing that maybe it is something that you've kind of realised over the last year and a half. I
think it's. So I think the first time it happened was the first Sidemen charity match. And because I've always been someone, I always just like live in my comfort zone, you know, stay happy, not, you know, don't take any risk, it'll not hurt you. And the Sidemen charity match, I was like, that's such a sick opportunity, I've got to do it. But it terrified us.
Yeah.
And I think...
Why did it terrify you?
Because I'm shit at football and there was 30,000 people there. But and then I realised that the night afterwards, after doing that the best feeling comes from something you are terrified about. So then it was like, okay, Sidemen charity match, next year, Wembley. And then this year, it was like, there's none of that. That charity match isn't there. So I thought, let's fill that void, because it's a fucking great feeling of having something you're really scared of coming up and then doing it. So and then they were like, oh, well, should we do a tour next April?
Do you think it was worse for you because there's a general feeling that you're chilled and happy-go-lucky and you don't really get bothered by things? Do you think that people thought that about you? Did that play on your mind?
In terms of what?
In terms of like you didn't want to, and I guess you didn't in that Sidemen game. You were able to just kind of cope and get through it.
Coast and hope no one looks at you.
Yeah. But in the lead up to that, I think sometimes people, as much as, especially people, you know, who are on YouTube or whatever, you can be very wary of how you're perceived. And so if you have put out something as a general idea that you're perceived as this guy's like, hi everyone, right, we're talking about this video.
I can't then go get pissed off if I lose a ball.
Or panic, or like having whatever.
In those games, I realised I was never going to be able to like give anything good to them in terms of football ability-wise. So, all right, Rice comes running down the left wing, I'll kick his knees in. Like that's how I was like, I'm not going to be able to contribute anything good. So I might as well just try and have a laugh.
We've got to
kick Jeremy Lynch.
We've both fouled Jeremy Lynch. That's something we've both done. Well, I guess that's like...
Sorry I lost with that. Sorry about that.
Mate, it could have been me. I gave away a free kick on the edge of the box and I was thinking...
Oh, not like this.
Oh my God, we've just lost. We've just lost because he's of course he's going to put it top pins.
I've seen him do it loads of times on YouTube. He does it every time.
I've never seen this guy miss a free kick, guys. We're fucked.
That's it. I came off that pitch really happy because I thought I'd done my job. I got sent off at Wembley. I kicked Jeremy Lynch, and then I watched it back. Oh shit! I lost the game. I was like, felt really bad for everyone else.
It wasn't you. I look back at that. We did amazing in that. That was amazing. So, going into Wembley, were you nervous about that?
Yeah.
Really? See, I didn't get that vibe.
So I think with Wembley, I was nervous because I knew it'd be bad. Whereas with the tour, I wasn't as nervous because I knew we'd planned it and it was going to be good. Like I hate doing anything poorly. Like if I make a video, I want to make it like put work in before and prepare it so it's the best it can be. Right. And I always want to, if I put anything out, I want it to be really good, unless it's maybe a second channel video. But you know what I mean.
Sub anyway, it's fine.
With football, I would have to practice for 10 years to be better. You know what I mean? I couldn't have just put loads of work in the month before and came out like fucking Ronaldinho at Wembley. So I was nervous because I knew I'd be shit.
Right. How are you with nerves generally? Are you a nervous person?
Not so much. No, I don't think so.
Because I wonder if like those nerves everyone has nerves, but going back to that word at the start of you saying that you were driven, that kind of I am nervous, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna just have to keep going. I
just feel the need to go in,
and I think that's a really good, it's a really good thing to have because you can walk away if you want to. But then that's the opposite feeling of what you're saying.
You just know in your gut that it's wrong to.
Yeah.
And that's something that kind of keeps us directed.
Moving forward. What was the worst thing about the tour?
How much we got paid for it?
But do you know, it reminds me, actually, okay, I'll go to that now. Right? So I asked someone. I asked someone.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know him better than me.
Yeah.
Give me a question and I'll ask him, but I'll say it's an anonymous person.
Well, what did Stephen say?
So it's from Anonymous. He asks, why did you give the meet and greet money to charity? Seriously, why? Could be anyone.
Because I couldn't get Stephen on the tour if we didn't. Stephen was like, I refuse. Credit to him, because he's such
Does everyone know
pure
about this?
and lovely bloke. I probably would have taken the money, right? For the record, I probably would have taken it, right? But Stephen is so lovely and just pure that he was like, I'm not doing it. And then my dad just said, well, why don't you give it to charity? Because it was, the company literally came to us, it's like, you do these meet and greets, or the tour doesn't work. Like, as a business thing, that's just how tours run. Like, the James Charles thing when he was charging $500 a ticket, bad, but it's the business side of things. It's like, there's people telling them that too.
Yeah.
So Stephen was like, I'm not doing meet and greets. And I was like, okay, well, what if we do these meet and greets and give them to charity? And then he was like, all right, that feels right. And that's how I got Stephen on board. And without Stephen, there was obviously never going to be a tour. So
yeah, we're different at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that stings. And it stings for this anonymous person who doesn't want to be named. The tour itself, like that moment. So again, looking at you, doing it, completing it at 23. Again, forget the fact that you've sold the tickets, the success of it. The fact that you're willing to stand in front of those people. How did that feel? Like, what was the first night like?
Oh, the best feeling in the world. That's what I'm saying, honestly.
No way.
So, the 10 minutes before you go on is the worst feeling in the world. And then as soon as you step out there and it starts to go like, oh shit, I can do this. Great. And you're like, I don't want to leave. I remember bouncing around in my dressing room at the interval. We're already halfway there.
Wow.
And me, Stephen, Max, the whole tour coming, you're like, yeah, it works, because you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of, there's not really been a YouTube show like ours as well. So I think we proved a lot of unproven ground of like, you know, we did something for the first time. So it was my first time in terms of like, okay, do a show, but it was also the first time of, do these shows even fucking work?
Because the other frightening thing for the tour is the fact that it's comedy.
Yeah.
And like that's, I'm funny, you're going to laugh when I say this. Ready?
I know.
Here we go.
Jesus Christ.
Like that's again, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I think it's kind of benefited with the YouTube audience because they come and they're already on your side.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to a couple of YouTubers when I did panels in Summer City and I was really nervous. And someone came up and was like, why? Like, these are your people, she said. And it sounds a bit deprived, but like, it's almost like they're coming to support you. So you've kind of just got to be like, look, I mean, they might shout nonce squarehead here or there, but I mean, people don't want to come and see.
It's coming from a loving place.
Yeah, no one's coming to the show going, oh, I want him to flop. So you're like, I find a bit of solace in that.
It's a bit like a wedding, like when you're like the best man or whatever. It's horrific, but
you want to see it
do
go well.
know, as long as you get the kind of rhythm and go punchline,
then
they'll just laugh anyway. You'll be okay.
Yeah, because it's all good not to.
Yeah. So I'm amazed you're so chilled with it. I thought the tour would have been a bit more of an excruciating like thing for you.
How do you mean?
I just thought that when people don't realise this, that that's just a camera. It's not. It's not the few thousand people who are going to watch it.
Yeah.
It's just a camera. There's no one else here apart from me and you chatting. Like those kind of things, going and doing it in front of row after row after people. I thought that would like blow your mind a bit more.
It only blows your mind when you're not, until you're out there. Like as soon as you're out there, the lights are really bright. You can't really see many people anyway. And it's as soon as I'm out there, I'm totally fine. It's almost like just having a conversation with more people. But the 10 minutes before, in your mind, you're like, I'm about to step out into the gauntlet. Yeah, like this is.
Did you talk to Stephen about it in like the run up? He's got like a little bit more experience.
Yeah, he didn't really give me much. It was not really. All I really got from them two was they'd practice heckles. Or he'd just tell us the stories of just when it went bad, but he just said
kind of chilled anyway, isn't it?
We got a lot of help from a writer, so we pretty much went to this guy and were like, look, this is what we want to talk about. This is how we're going to do it, and he was like, okay, this is how we make it into a show. So you couldn't with YouTube, you'd play a clip for 7 seconds and then talk about it, and then another one, and it was like it doesn't work. So if you do that on a show, you've got to play a clip for 40 seconds and then make loads of jokes and bring back to it because it just gets far too hectic to follow.
Right.
So he would teach us things like that. I got loads from him. The coaching for that was mainly from the writer.
Okay. So what did you learn from it then? What are your, if you look back at it now, apart from it being fun, is there anything that you've gone, okay?
Don't trust people when they tell you what you're going to make, because you're not. I'm sick of working and making money for other people. And that, if I set my mind to stuff, there's a lot I think I can do that I didn't. There's more skills than I thought I had.
Because I guess moving into like looking into the future for you.
Don't scare us.
Does the future scare you then? Like what's
Yeah.
Life's good, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because I'm quite good at putting the blinders on and be like, it's great now, we'll be fine in 5 years. But the more I think, I'm like, look, I need a plan. But I think what I love about YouTube now is it's kind of getting to the place where I might be really naive by saying this, but you can maybe do it for 10 years instead of the 4 or 5 years I thought you could if you adapt and if you completely change your content. Like if you look at PewDiePie, right? 2013. Did you ever see the videos he used to make then?
No, I mean, not religiously.
So he used to like scream and be really over top about like these Happy Wheel games and like play horror games and like big reactions and be like, like really animated. Whereas now he's like he steps back and he'll mock things and he'll be really like straight and have like a dry sense of humor. And he's completely changed and he's the biggest bastard on the platform. And if you can do that, you can keep going, which gives me a little bit of relief.
Yeah. So there is a bit, but I guess there is a bit of anxiety of because one question I ask everyone is like, what keeps you up at night? Is that what it is?
That's what it is. The fact that you can lose it all in a month, but then you've also got to tell yourself you can get it back the very next month.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's such a fluid platform.
What do you think of this, like the James Charles, like the cancel culture thing? Do you believe in it?
It's all a good storyline, isn't it? The one that I think reflects it the most is the JJ and Deji stuff. Is that like Deji will put out a video, oh JJ's losing subs. KSI puts out a video, oh Deji's losing subs. It's like the internet's so fickle. It's almost like football fans, when Paul Dummett has 5 games in a row, shite, Right. And then suddenly he has 6 games in a row, great, and we don't need a new left back. It's just, you've got to kind of step back from it and realise people will be people. Like there's very rarely a big situation or like a drama on the internet that happens, drops, and people still care about 3 days later.
Yeah.
Like 72 hours is pretty much a golden rule of all right, no one cares anymore. Like no better.
And I guess there's have you had a moment where something's happened that you thought was a giant deal and then there's 3 or 4 days later it's like, I think I'm going to be all right here? I
mean, not personally, but every single other thing, yes. But everything you're like, wow, this is amazing, this is new, this is fresh, let's talk about it, make jokes about it, read all the tweets about it, and the day you're like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it?
So the platform itself, YouTube, what would be your predictions for it? Where do you see it going as someone who's like lived and breathed it for the last few years?
It's so hard if you look like, it depends on how far you're looking in the future. I think the subscriber metric is just completely invalid. Like all that is just a vanity metric now. It means so much less than it did 5 years ago.
Right.
And I think it's going to continue the way that subscribers is just a number to judge yourself on. It's really...
Because I think in Twitter there's thoughts about taking away how many followers you've got.
Yeah, it's the whole follower count that doesn't really mean much. It's the engagement you get. So for Twitter, it'd be likes and retweets. That would mean more than, I have X amount of followers. Or Instagram would be likes on your picture. YouTube, it's views. Right. So it's like subscribers, it's just such an empty metric.
I guess the only metric might be being recommended a little bit more.
Yeah, it's views. But you get views as a result of that. That's the proof for that. Because in the old days, like if you had subscribers, you had views. Like YouTube would be like, all right, this person pressed the subscribe button, they want to see this person's content. And maybe 2016, 2017, they stopped showing every subscriber every video and got loads more views on the site because of that, and moved towards more, we will show videos that lots of people click on.
Just go and chuck something out there, like say like 5 years in the future. Okay. Is there Because I guess maybe this is an unfair question, but especially when you know you've been around and dived into trend after trend after trend after trend. Is there any kind of like rhythm or rhyme or reason to that, or is it just whatever catches people's attention at the time?
That's it. It's just whatever.
It's nonsense.
It's just whatever. No, it's whatever. It's whatever people care about. That's all it is. It's like your job as a YouTuber is also just to know what people want, like care about, or what they're interested in.
Is that a route that you go down as well when you're kind of thinking about ideas? Is like what will people care about, or what are they caring about right now?
Yeah, sadly, I don't think it's not as prominent as it was maybe 2 years ago. Do you remember like trends where it was like, oh, 1,000-degree knife through this thing? 2016 YouTube was like, you had to make a video on that trend. Like you had to have those keywords in your title.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can make a video on anything, just as long as enough people are interested, it'll do well here or there.
Well, that's something you said to me. Like, the amount of times I've gone to put a title and I've gone, I'd love to text Will it. You can't just keep texting asking what's a good title for this. I think I've used one too strong.
The title has to come first. Make the title.
No, sorry.
Stop making videos before the title.
Okay.
That's like
right. There we go. But you have said that like to a point. Fuck keywords now. Like
it's weird. That's just one of those things that it just changes every 6 months. It's like sometimes you'll see a lot of tweets like literally every season, every 6 months, and everyone be like, oh, YouTube's broken. This isn't working anymore. Like they've changed something, go figure it out. Like that's literally what it is. And they'll never be like, YouTube never come out and be like, all right,
that's it now.
That's it, this is the new thing. You've just got to react to it and plot ahead.
How quickly do you react to these things though?
Some things, it's hard because...
Do you have any rules?
You try, no, if you have rules, you're like, if you try and keep yourself to these set boxes, you're fucked.
Right.
It usually helps if like your mate figures something out and they'll tell you. Or sometimes it changes and it'll be harder for you to adapt because that just doesn't suit your content. Like for me, I went from making 4-minute videos really fast paced to having to be like, well, 4-minute videos, they don't exist anymore. You don't do that. To now I have to make 14-minute videos at the same pace because I can't let myself not.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it's harder to adapt.
Because there was the joke, wasn't there? The 10-minute videos, getting those out.
So 10 minutes just for money, whereas now 10 minutes is just... 10 minutes isn't even enough now.
Is it? I think that's a new wave of like of how people are about money.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite satisfying and really, it's a massive relief, I think, because you did that really quickly. You're just like, well, I want more money. But that's nice. Like it's nice that you don't have to do that.
Yeah, if you're just upfront with it, I think that's maybe the opinion of the general audience has changed over the last 6 or 7 years, whereas that was really bad and you were a little money whore back in 2013 if you even upload daily. Whereas now if you just joke about me like if I add an extra minute onto my video, that a 9-minute video make a 10-minute video, I can make twice as much. I'm going to do that. I'm going to drag the outro out this long and hope for the best. But it's just like, if you're working that hard and you can only do YouTube for a finite amount of time, you might as well push yourself to get as much out of it as possible. Like at the end of the day, it's free entertainment.
Do you think you could? You just said you're going to do YouTube for a finite amount of time. Do you think you could? Do you think you could do it for another 15 years?
I don't know if I want to be 38 with kids kicking around, being like, "Oh, look at this kid on the internet." I would love to do it. Fuming. I would. Yeah, I know. Maybe I should just stop. Get that out of my mind. Maybe I'd love to do it till 30, 31, 32. Right. But it's hard
about
because
fulfillment though, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of, it's probably an unfair question to ask that because you don't know how you're going to feel in a couple of
exactly.
years' time.
And I don't know how.
Do you think you'd be okay? You feel okay to walk away from it if it was, if it just got to a point where like I'm not enjoying it?
That's the thing is I can never see that. Maybe that's touch wood, but I can't see that point coming soon. Like I just love it so much, and it's the first thing that I've had to be really in my life really passionate about. So maybe when it gets to the point where you're like, you know what, I don't enjoy this anymore, change what you're making. Or I saw what I loved, Mr. Beast did Logan Paul's podcast, and he was just saying, look at what you're not enjoying. If you're not enjoying cutting video, get someone to help you cut the video. Or if you're not enjoying, like if you make videos and the cleanup afterwards or the setup, pay someone to set it up for you. So hopefully I'll be in a position where I'll be able to do that and prolong it that way.
Yeah.
But for now, touch wood again, I don't see it coming.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I just think it's interesting because there are different phases in life, and so I was watching this. There's this. It's a very famous British documentary that's gone on for years and years. It was originally called 7 Up, but it's like.
You coming?
Do you want to come down?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Or should we wait?
I don't know. Do you want to be in, G? It's G. She's the actual brain. Come to the process soon. There's documentary 7 Up, and basically they find these there's a group of 7-year-olds, and they chat to them about how they feel about different things, and then they meet them again at 14, 7 years later, then 21, then 28,
right,
and so on. And so the new one's coming out on ITV. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's they're 63 now, so 63 Up it'll be called, and. I was watching this thing on kind of looking at like all those different years along the way, and the thing that they were sort of really talking about was the biggest change in someone happens between 14 and I think it's 21.
Right. Yeah.
14 and 21. You see these kids at like 7, really happy. 14, can't look them in the eye. 21, they're men and women. Like they're real people. Some of them got kids.
Yeah.
So you're now 23.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this is a good time to like chat to you and figure out where you're at.
Yeah.
In terms of like looking back at that period of time, what would be your advice to people living through that 14 to 21 age?
God, it's a big one. I don't really know, because it's so hard. It's so hard to be like, oh, do this, do that. When you're 14 and 17, you haven't lived it. Like you haven't moved out, you haven't fended for yourself, you haven't dealt with, adult things. So it's hard. That's just something you learn along the way, and I find it hard to give advice to. What have you
learned along the way then, in that period of time? What have you worried about that you shouldn't have worried about? It was fine.
Quite a lot. I worry about a lot. I think something I really got wrong when I was 17 to 18, 19, I studying to be an engineer, because I just thought that's what everyone does, and like I'll make a decent set, sorry, that's how it'll work.
Oh right, no real passion for that?
Oh, none at all. I would have been fucking miserable. So, and I felt like, especially when you're 17, like you're in sixth forms and stuff, and like, they make it seem like the only route is to go uni. Actually, that'd be the one thing I'd say to 14 to 17-year-old, fuck uni, it's a scam. Unless you're doing like, I've been thinking about really good humanities or a STEM subject.
The problem between me and you is I went when it was cheap.
Yeah.
You went when it was mental.
Yeah, now
that's
it's
a problem. That's why I'd be wary of. I get why people say that.
Yeah.
At the prices right now.
Yeah, financially now it's untenable.
Yeah.
Like, but I get it. Like, if it's free or a certain amount, I see the value in it. But like, you're pushed into making this huge choice at 17 and this huge amount of debt, and you're made to feel like it's the only choice. And I just would say it's definitely not the only choice, and you can get far without it.
Yeah, and do you know what I would say?
But it definitely works for some people.
But also say you've gone. So you're not doing what you did at uni. Yeah. You're like, there are aspects and strengths of it that you use, I guess. I'm not doing it.
I couldn't name one.
I think there might be ways of like, how does something work? Breaking it down. Am I stretching?
Honestly, yeah.
No, you're not having it.
The only purpose uni served for me was like a gap year to work on my YouTube channel, which is sad, and I get that my perspective of uni is completely warped because of that, and my opinions on it don't really hold as much weight, but that's literally all I got. That and 14 grand a day. Yeah.
Well, I mean, bizarrely for me, I did sport development with coaching.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of people on that course have gone and done like amazing things.
Is that why you were so good at team talks at the Wembley Cup?
Maybe, I don't know.
I get it, right.
Or I've just watched Mighty Ducks too many times. But what a big thing of that is about sport and being able to talk about it and things like that. And weirdly, like I'm now, a lot of what I do is talk about sport. And so I think they meet each other.
And you're articulate with it because of that.
Yeah. I think certainly there's a part of it, or there's a perspective or knowledge of it that I have, a tweak on it that creates my opinion now. Yeah. That is something that some people like, some people don't like. Right. But I think uni is just a moment in time from even like the 6-year-old kid who likes certain things, those strengths, they slowly get developed along the way.
Yeah.
And I that's why I was like the maths, chemistry, like that element of it, and then understanding that you're known as being someone who dives into the analytics and is able to read it well. Those strengths, like they were probably elements that you developed a little bit more at uni that you've then
Yeah, you're right, but I developed them for free in high school and sixth form, which is that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're right. I definitely it definitely helped, but I've done it before for a lot less.
Yeah, for a lot less. That's true.
Yeah.
Here's the last one. This word came up on the telly. I heard it, and I felt sad, and I don't know what. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, no, it doesn't need to be that. And then I thought, well, this would be a good question. The word came up. It was someday.
Yeah.
Someday there'll be something that you can't do anymore, or you can't, or you won't want to do anymore, or whatever. There'll be a negative someday. There's a positive someday as well. Can you give me what comes to your mind when I say
negative someday? It was be losing my parents or my family. I think with someday it's gonna happen. You're gonna lose the ones you care about. That would be the one that would come to me negative. Someday I'm kind of just like. Someday I'll not be stressed, or like I'll not have the pressures of day-to-day life, or so when
do you
when
feel
you say
pressured then?
Yeah. But it's all from myself.
Right.
Put on. But if you say someday, I just see myself feet up, but I'll fucking hate that. So I don't know what I'm on about.
Would there be a subscriber amount that I know you said it was nonsense, but would there be a subscriber amount that you'd go, fuck yeah, like that's okay, that's enough?
No. Impossible.
So maybe actually, instead of the focus, obviously the focus is always going to be on the next success, but actually the real joy of the success is actually
the journey.
Is the bits all along. I know
the process we've linked
it
beautifully. Done it, yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if like that might be something. That's a thing for people to focus on. Is that like how much fun you've had along the way?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that needs to be the concentration instead of like getting bothered about the numbers either way.
Oh yeah, that's what I don't have an end goal with it. And I think that's the way to be with it. Is you just focus on the day-to-day successes, and well, that's the way to keep yourself motivated. Yeah. Just have I think loads of short-term targets are way better than just one big empty massive long-term one.
Okay.
I think I found that when I was aiming for 1 million subscribers, the last 3-4 months I made myself miserable trying to hit it. Yeah. And then you get there and you're like, oh, well, it's just like 900k, but with an extra an extra digit on.
That is the biggest myth of YouTube. So for me, 30,000 it was.
Yeah.
You go, oh God, I get a 3. I get a 3 instead of a 2, buzzing. But then by the time you get to 29,940, you're like, oh, I'm kind of there.
I've got it.
Kind of there now. It's not like
you go on the creator studio in the top right corner.
That's
it's already abbreviated it up, and you're like, well, I can see it there. I've already got it. So I think I learned that quite quickly in my life, and with YouTube, is that just anything that's like infinite, and you can have an infinite amount of it, or lose an infinite amount. You never get true happiness from it.
And you need to find a new kind of control over it, or your own kind of control over it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
To figure it all out.
Because it's just
mate, thank you.
No bother. I really enjoyed it. I've been waiting to come on for ages.
And I think with you, like, I really hope this doesn't come across patronising, but I love, like, again, that the tour was amazing.
Thank you.
For you, like, you can see you kind of grow a little bit and literally force yourself into growing.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
And I think, like I said to Zach and Jay, they were on 36,000 subs, and they were like, oh, we're really excited to do all this stuff. And I was like, we should chat in a year.
Oh, God, with them, like,
I think it's the same with you, man. It'd be interesting to see where your mind's at.
They're one of the people I love to see do well.
Yeah, no, they're tearing up. Will, thank you, mate.
Yes, thank you for having us on.
Right, guys, if you haven't checked out the other episodes of The Process, make sure you do. Am I going to say go subscribe to
me? You fucking better do. You better.
Like you don't know who he is. Go subscribe to Will. Go on, give him. He needs it. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Check out the audio podcast as well, which is on iTunes and Spotify.
God, you've got your shit
Subscribe to me, please.
Yeah?
That would be
nice
as well. And I'll see you soon.
Oh, I really enjoyed that.